tonight's topic is vitamin D versus hormone D. What do we really know? So this will be our third exploration of the topic. It's a big topic, so it is, I think the conversation on it is going to continue for quite some time. I have a specific part of that topic that I want to go to because the great panelists, we ended up discussing other areas of that specific topic. And now I think, I want to now look into the frequencies or whatever they are that we get from the sun with regards to, because our skin, as far as I understand it, what we've looked at so far in this series, we've looked at the fact that we are told that the skin absorbs UV rays and then transforms that into vitamin D, which is then carried to the kidneys and is used for our bodies to be able to produce hormone D, which is part of the hormonal hierarchy and thus is part of our bodily functions, right? So we need hormone D all the time, just like we need growth hormone, just like we need our sex hormones, just like we need all of the other hormones. We will hopefully look at what hormones are as well, maybe at one point in the future, but we're specific on vitamin D and hormone D. That's what this topic is focused on. So I want to look at the rays that we have to absorb from the sun for the beginning of what our body ends up producing as hormone D. So UVA and UVB rays is an article that I've got. What's the difference between UVA and UVB rays? So hopefully in this article, we'll see all that we need to know. But if not, I'm sure it'll be a great starting point. So now, let me see. Where's that article? Bring it on to stage. Make it a bit bigger. So this is found on a website called healthline.com. I'm not too sure about what we're going to find here, whether it's going to be legit, airtight or watertight or whatever, or if it's just going to be something general, but it's somewhere for us to begin, okay? So this says, what's the difference between UVA and UVB rays? Sunlight contains ultraviolet, which is UV, radiation, which is made up of different types of rays. The types of UV radiation you're probably most familiar with are UVA and UVB rays. These rays can affect your skin in different ways. In this article, we'll take a closer look at the key differences between UVA and UVB rays, how they affect your skin, and what you can do to limit sun damage. What is UV radiation? UV radiation is a form of electromagnetic energy. It can come from natural sources such as sunlight, as well as artificial sources such as lasers, black lights, and tanning beds. The sun is the most significant source of UV radiation. It's the product of a nuclear reaction at the sun's core, and the radiation travels to Earth via the sun's rays. Experts classify UV rays are classified according to wavelength. UVA, longest wavelength, UVB, medium wavelength, and UVC, shortest wavelength. So, before we go any further, this is where it sounds like a frequency, like how they used to talk about, you've got MW radio frequencies,
Oh, yeah,
right?
yeah.
Which is medium wave.
Yeah.
And you've got FM and all these other ones that I don't know what they are, right? So that's where it has me think, oh, now this could be where it ties in with what I've heard people say when they say that it's a frequency, right? So, right, going forward, quick comparison chart. Here's a quick comparison of the three main types of UV rays. UVA energy level lowest, UVB medium, UVC highest. So I didn't even know there was a UVC, so that's interesting. Skin cells affected by UVA, inner cells in the top layer of skin, including dermis. In UVB, cells in the top layer of skin. Outermost cells in the top layer of skin for UVC. So UVA actually goes deeper than the surface because it's in the top layer. In inner cells in the top layer. So it's not outer cells. So that's interesting. Short-term effects. For UVA, immediate tanning, sunburn. For UVB, delayed tanning, sunburn, blistering. For UVC, redness, ulcers and lesions, severe burns. Long-term effects. Premature aging, wrinkles, some skin cancers. That's with UVA. UVB, skin cancer, plus can contribute to premature aging. UVC, skin cancer, premature aging. So they're both, they both bring around the premature, all three bring around the premature aging, but it's B and C where it goes, so the lowest it is, the less skin cancer, and the highest it is, then it's, it's more likely to cause skin cancer. Yeah.
Lieutenant, you know the bit with the dermis, when it said skin cells affected, including the dermis?
Yes.
So like, I was thinking with skin, isn't it like you have the epidermis, right? And then the dermis, I think it's the end bit's the hypodermis.
Well, I think we should look at that, because when I read dermis, I thought, all right, what does this mean?
Yeah, I think the epidermis is like the bit where like the like the bit of the skin you see with your eye.
I think that's an important question, Ravioli.
Yeah, I think the epidermis is like the bit like where sort of the start of the dermis, if that makes sense, and the dermis is the main bit. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's like
I have no idea. So we'll look at that in a minute.
Okay, all right.
We'll just finish this table and then we'll look up that before we go any further in this article. So, source for UVA, sunlight and tanning beds. For UVB, sunlight and tanning beds. For UVC, UVC lights, mercury lamps, welding torches.
Cool.
Oh, so it sounds like UVC doesn't actually come from the sun.
No.
Percentage of the sun's UV rays. UVA, 95%. UVB, about 5%. So UVB, only 5% of it comes from the sun. So it makes up, only 5% of what's coming from the sun. Most of what's coming from the sun is UVA.
Yep.
Right? And UVC, none of it comes from the sun, because it's filtered out by the atmosphere. So if there's any
sorry, can you hear me?
Hang on. If there's any UVC going on in the world, it's coming from UVC lights, mercury lamps, and welding torches. It's not coming from the sun. So UVC does not come from the sun to Earth because it's filtered out by the atmosphere. Sorry, go ahead, Nagar.
And UVB doesn't seem to be very nice It causes all this kind of problems, skin cancer, sunburn, blistering.
Well, it can. It's not saying it's guaranteed, but there's more chance of it than the UVA, because the UVA is a low level energy. UVB is medium. UVC is the most dangerous. And on Earth, we only have UVC because of UVC lights, mercury lamps, and welding torches. It doesn't actually reach us from the sun. So it sounds as though this is the worst that we're going to have in UVB, and there's only medium chance compared to the highest of UVC. So the sun isn't that much of a problem compared to the other things that we're actually using here, where there's UVC, which is a higher frequency. Okay, so that's good to know. So yeah, before we go any further, we will look at dermis. So let's see.
The dermis, the layer of the skin.
What do you mean?
Yeah, no, I was kind of thinking, like, I remember, like, was it collagen? That's something in the skin. I can't remember what that is. I know it's something in there, though, collagen. And then I think, the epidermis is the top bit near, like, the skin you see with your eye. And then the dermis is, like, the main bit under that of the skin. And then I think the point where at the end is something, I think, was it hypodermis? I can't remember. I remember dermis was the big bit, though. I'm going back to my memory.
It's a live bit, which is alive. It's got blood going through it. The epidermis is basically is dead, some of it.
Right.
We're shedding it.
Well, I've got an article here, so we don't need to guess so much. We'll see what this has to say. Let me see if I can get this on screen. So this is by the Cleveland Clinic. I'll be putting the link to this in the description to the video at the end as well, so anyone can go and have a look at this in their own time. Hello, Rob, in the chat. Right, so dermis, medically reviewed. This article is medically reviewed. It was last updated on the 2nd of October 2022. This says your dermis is the middle layer of skin in your body. It has many different purposes, including protecting your body from harm, supporting your epidermis, feeling different sensations, and producing sweat and hair. Okay, so it's the middle layer of your skin in your body, and excellent. We've got a nice diagram here.
Oh, yeah.
What is the dermis layer? Your skin has three main layers, and the dermis, corium, is the middle layer of skin in your body. So that's, I don't know if you can see my mouse. Yeah. So it's this part where you can't highlight those words, right? So you've got the dermis at the top where the hairs are coming out. You've got the hypodermis or hippodermis, however you pronounce that, at the bottom, where it looks like you've got those kind of snake things. I don't know what they would be. They might be mitochondria or something. I don't know where they go actually. But that middle part is the dermis, where you've got the root of hairs and other such things. Yeah, the papillary dermis, the reticular dermis. So this dermis is actually, it's got two layers to it itself. Yeah. Okay, so that's interesting. Right, so that's the dermis. Let's read more about this, though, just so we're sure. Your skin has three main layers, and the dermis, corium, is the middle layer of skin in your body. The other two layers of skin are your epidermis and hypodermis. The dermis layer consists of 2 layers of its own. Okay, yeah. Corium is another name for the dermis. Corium is a Latin word that means leather or skin. What are the 2 layers of the dermis? Your dermis consists of 2 layers. Reticular dermis, was that? Yeah, that's the lower layer.
Yeah.
The reticular layer is the bottom layer of your dermis. It's thick and it contains blood vessels, glands, hair follicles, lymphatics, nerves, and fat cells. So that's interesting. That's the level where the lymphatic system is flowing through. A net-like structure of elastin fibers and collagen fibers surrounds the reticular dermis. These fibers support your skin's overall structure as well as allow it to move and stretch. Papillary dermis, the papillary layer is the top layer of your dermis. It's much thinner than the reticular dermis. It consists of collagen fibers. So you mentioned collagen, didn't you, Ravioli?
Yeah.
Fibroblast cells, fat cells, blood vessels, which are also called capillary loops, nerve fibers, touch receptors, which are also called Meissner corpuscles, and cells that fight bacteria, phagocytes, I think that's pronounced. The papillary dermis extends to the basement layer of the epidermis layer. They form a strong bond that connects like interlocking fingers.
Lieutenant, one thing there in the gut, like, so sorry, this papillary dermis. So what? That's where I got it wrong. Reticular dermis is where the fat cells are. That's where fat's stored too.
Yes.
God,
fat cells.
Right. Actually, that's where it's stored, right? I see. Okay, and where's that again in the picture?
It's
the reticular
it's
is the lower part of the dermis, the lower layer
Yeah.
of the dermis.
Yeah. I mean, these are very thin layers anyway. They're not these enormous, big, thick layers. It's just very thin.
Yeah. But it's amazing that in those very thin layers, a lot is going on.
Yeah.
In your skin, isn't it? Like, wow.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Gosh,
I mean, we take it for granted that we feel stuff, and we touch our skin, we feel it, but it's all stuff in there which allows us to do that.
Yeah. And it's great that all like the lymphatic system, it's good to know where that is, because if you want to say stimulate your lymphatic system, you know, because you're feeling overloaded with toxins, you want to help get the toxins out of your body, you know, not to try to manipulate your skin too harshly, because you know more precisely where it is in your skin, and that it only just needs some gentle movement of the skin, dragging of the skin, without actually pulling it too hard or tearing it, or because I think you could actually end up being too harsh with your lymphatic system when trying to stimulate it, and end up possibly blocking it up or damaging it, you know. And it's crucial for detox. Otherwise you end up with a whole host of illnesses if you can't get the toxins out of your body. It's a constant process. So I'm glad we went to that. It's a good question that you asked there, Ravioli. So
you know, when like when in the sun or when you're running you sweat, where does sweat glands in, like, because
it's in the dermis. It's in the dermis.
Yeah.
It just showed you in the picture. The sweat glands are those funny roundy there they are. There's in that picture here.
Okay.
It's a funny wiry thing together. That's a sweat cell.
This thing.
That one. Yeah. That's it.
Oh, wow. So that's what that is. Okay.
Yeah.
So the toxins will come from everywhere, including the lymphatic system. The lymphatic system typically carries the toxins to the digestive system, but I dare say some of them would end up in the sweat glands as well.
Yeah. I mean, the fact that our skin is pliable and soft is because we constantly are sweating a little bit. When you see sweat is when, because it's so hot, it's not allowed to evaporate as much as comes out. So then you see the sweat actually on your skin. But we constantly are producing a small amount of sweat just to keep our skin from drying out and becoming brittle.
It's a constant detox. The body is constantly
Yes.
detoxing. So sweat
Yeah.
glands are part of your detox pathways.
Yeah, yeah, of
So
course.
that's
As well as
why
keeping the body, as well as
there's
keeping
natural oil. There's natural oils
That's
there
right.
as well. Yeah,
That's right.
that's
Absolutely.
different from sweat. But yeah, there's constantly one or two substances at least coming out of your pores for sure.
That's right.
And in
One
that
is for
picture there,
moisturization, the other is for detox. Both
where would the
vital.
nerves be then? Would there be nerve cells in there? Where would they be?
Yes,
And
yes,
I'm not sure. Did it say?
we read
Oh
about
yes,
it.
nerves. So that's in the
Oh
reticular.
yeah,
dermis.
reticular.
Yeah. Okay, so are we satisfied with our understanding of the epidermis, the dermis, and the hypodermis now? A bit more, at
Bit
least,
more,
anyway.
maybe. Yeah.
Yeah.